Welcome back, everyone, to the FloTrack podcast. FloTrackPodcast@gmail.com is our email address. You can follow the show on Twitter at FloTrack Podcast, where Travis is putting up only the most embarrassing clips, and Gordon still does not have the password.
Yes, it's very true. I would like to apologize at the top of the pod. People don't know this, but we were recording this pod 3 hours later because yours truly decided to sleep in, did not set an alarm. So I apologize. And I had to start learning this because I think the plan is we're going to take this podcast live down the road.
Yeah.
I think in about a week or two, we'll start doing this podcast live on YouTube. Like and subscribe. So I need to be prepared to wake up for these 9 a.m. podcasts because having to do it at 12 p.m., I feel bad. Anyway, I just want to get out of the way. I mean, hey, the Sixers played Golden State late last night. It was a 10 Eastern start time. Didn't start till like 10:30 Eastern, so I have an excuse.
We should have known when we saw the Sixers schedule this was going to be a tough one for you. Alon and I were waiting for you. Super producer Alon and I were waiting for you. And then at like 9:15, 9:20, he said, hey, you did it by yourself for a while. That one time. You just want to try that again? But then I told him, hey, there's not a lot going on right now in the track world. We're between indoors, cross country, and outdoors. It's a Wednesday show. Everything was stacked against me. And I said, this one I need Gordon because we're going to need to go back and forth a little bit to get to this show. So I could not carry it myself. So I said, let's just reschedule. But that's where we're at in the track season right now. And Wednesday is tough as is. Wednesday between seasons, even harder to figure out stuff to talk about.
And I think we found a good topic. It's topical. It's a topical topic.
Yeah.
And that's the best kind of topics you can talk about. So
yeah.
March Madness,
at the end of the show,
Track Madness,
at the end of
together.
Yeah, at the end of the show, we're going to talk about some of the meets that are going to kick off the outdoor season this weekend. You got a list of people who are going to be racing of note at the Texas relays, the Raleigh relays. So we'll talk about that. Maybe we'll even do some Gordon's guesses. We'll throw that on you. Maybe you can make a pick or two. See how well your outdoor picks hold up after a strong indoor and cross-country season to you. But yeah, we wanted to do a March Madness track hybrid. My buddy Dan, who does a college football podcast, at the beginning of March Madness, did a bracket as if it was everybody's college football team playing instead of everybody's college basketball team playing. And obviously, the results are kind of hilarious when you do that because you have all these weird upsets, more so than you would even in a regular tournament, and teams make runs that you wouldn't think. So we're going to do that. But with track, we're going to do the men's today because they're already the Sweet 16. We're going to go the Sweet 16 all the way to the championship. And then on Friday, because the women's tournament will be at the Sweet 16 by then, they still have a couple games to play. We'll do the women's bracket all the way in. And listen, we're not talking about the best 16 teams in track and field. That's that we're taking the basketball bracket. I'll be real clear here. We're taking the basketball bracket, and we're just saying which track team is better this year. We're not talking historically. We're talking about this year, which track team is better. Now, the better part is where we get subjective because obviously we're going to include indoor, we're going to cross country, we're going to include outdoor. You could say, well, which team's a better dual meet team? Which team's a better championship team? That's where the fun comes in. That's where the debate comes in. But we're taking the men's Sweet 16 bracket, putting in track teams, and then crowning a champion right here, probably in the next 15, 20 minutes, Gordon. It's going to be jam-packed. It's going to be exciting. Buckle up.
Yeah. And before we get into the jam-packed and exciting, we need to do an update on the current status of the FloTrack Madness pool. Yours truly, yes. I'm in second place, baby. Second place. Still in the running. I got my champion Gonzaga still going. There is a path for victory for me. Currently, ESPN fan 5685698 is winning, but he has Arkansas winning the whole thing, so it's not going to happen. But anyway,
they're still in it. They're still in it.
You're in.
How am I doing? How am I doing?
Where are you? I don't
keep
know
scrolling.
where you are.
Keep
you're
scrolling.
in 15th. You're in 15th, but you picked Kansas to win the whole thing, so you're definitely not going to win this pool.
I
Kansas
did?
Isn't even, yeah, you picked Kansas.
I have no recollection of that. In my other one, I picked Gonzaga, and everybody picked Gonzaga, and I'm way behind. My path to victory narrow on both.
Yeah.
Speaking of Gonzaga, let's start there with our track bracket. We'll go to the West here, Gordon. You have Gonzaga versus Creighton, USC versus Oregon. We'll start first at the top. Gonzaga versus Creighton. Battle of track teams for the men. Who would win?
Well, I guess the first question I had was, does Creighton have a track team? And I had to look it up. They do. They do have a track team. They have a cross-country team, but they do run track, I guess, with their cross-country guys. And I think, but does Gonzaga have a track team? And I was like, yeah, like I said, it's two teams that really don't really put a lot of emphasis on running 400 meters on the outdoor track. But based on lack of field event athletes and sprinters on both sides, I'm going to go with Gonzaga. They made the meet in cross country. James Mawara, Giamelli, he's good. Giramelli, I don't know how to say his last name. Joseph Giramelli, I don't know how to say his name. Anyway,
Creighton was 8th in the Big East. I looked that up. Creighton 8th in the Big East. Obviously, the Zags, because you were there, you know this, 2nd in the West Coast. And then they went on to get 27th at the national meet. I'm with you. We're moving Gonzaga on the Elite Eight. The next one, ooh, man, this one's a good one. Again, we're talking about this year, though. USC versus Oregon. In basketball, a lot of upsets to get there. If this was track, no upsets. This would be a marquee matchup. Break this one down for us.
So, obviously, we know what Oregon has on the distance side with the Tiers and the Hawkers and the James Wests of this world. But USC kind of does still have some legit workhorses in the outdoor. Like Isaiah Jewett, who is a USA finalist. You could say he could potentially win NCAAs over the likes of a Charlie Hunter. So USC still has a really good 800-meter runner. They still have solid sprinters. They can still have some good throwers here and there. But in the end, Oregon having the great distance, and then on top of that, having multiple guys qualify in that 60, Micaiah Williams coming out strong as a true freshman. It's going to be Oregon, hands down. USC just doesn't have the firepower. But I would like to see the Oregon USC 4x1 at Pac-12. So I'm excited to see who kind of comes victorious of that, because any other year you'd be like, oh, USC hands down. But this could be the year where Oregon's 100-meter runners are actually better than USC, which will be more of a sprint powerhouse. I mean, they have some very good sprinters come out of USC on both the 100 and 400 levels. So if Oregon now is overthrowing them, that's pretty impressive all around. Oregon, it's close, but they're going to pull away and win by like 7 points.
Yeah, USC's got some points in the field events. So McKay Johnson in the shot, maybe double him up. You got Ernie Sears in the high jump, but you're right. Oregon all around, I think, gets the win here. So that's the West. Let's go now to the East. The East, Michigan versus Florida State. Michigan versus Florida State. What do you think about this matchup?
Well, I think Florida State wins it easily. I think Michigan, they're really good at getting a bunch of guys who are like, not super elite, but like good enough to make a final maybe and float around. And then once in a while, they do have a time when, what's his name won? I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. Ben Flanagan won. And they do show up, have mix and matches here and there. But like Florida State is just super consistent. They have the depth. They have the sprinters. They have Wildershut. Michigan does have other type of guys, but I don't know. Florida State just overall, all around, is going to win this matchup, in my opinion.
Yeah, hard to argue that because, the presence of Wildershut gives them a great distance runner, and then we know how good they are in field events and sprints year in, year out. Okay, Florida State.
Yeah, Michigan does have a good decathlete transfer from USC, Aiden Owens, who might win, and they also have a good thrower, but Florida State just too much sprint power. They're gonna take over.
Okay, the bottom of that East bracket, UCLA versus Alabama. UCLA versus Alabama. Here's a little bit of the tail of the tape for this year's results. UCLA was 5th in the conference in cross country. Bama was 7th indoors nationally, didn't qualify for the national meet in cross country. So throw all those results together, Gordon, what do you get? Who wins this?
Alabama, hands down. They got some good throwers. They have some good jumpers, and they have Ilya Kipsang. I can't really think of anyone on UCLA roster that's like relevant right now in a top 3 position, where Alabama, they probably have like 5 guys who could be top 3 in a different event. So Alabama for the win.
Okay, so they're going to face Florida State in that East final. But let's continue with the round of 16 here. To the south, Baylor versus Villanova. Baylor versus Villanova. Now, if this was a historical contest, it would be pretty interesting to debate this, because remember when we did all our U's and we were debating who's what U, who's 400-meter U, and who's miler. You'd have a good battle here between quarter mile U and between miler U here. And if you were looking at this from the women's side, again, we'll do the women's bracket on Friday, but Baylor had 2 individual indoor champions indoors. But we're looking at it from the men's perspective. They have Casey Lightfoot, champion in the pole vault, Baylor does. Nova qualified in cross country, so they made it to the national meet. Indoors, they just had Dolan representing them in the mile. Who do you think? I feel like you need to do a tiebreaker with, like, what do you think is going to happen outdoors with this?
Yeah, they both have the very similar, like, the Baylor sprinters are very reminiscent of the Villanova milers right now, where they're good but not great. They're not bad. They're like, Villanova has a bunch of guys who could run 3:58 to 4:02. Baylor has a bunch of sprinters who are like 10.2 guys to 10.4. So it's good but not great. But I think the trump card I think that we have to throw in there is Baylor's pole vaulter, Casey Lightfoot. Yeah, it's only one event, but they got a surefire number 1 point scorer. So
okay,
I got to go with Baylor.
Baylor with the win there, number 1 seed in basketball. Moving on to the Elite Eight. Arkansas versus the Cinderella story from Oral Roberts. I know you have a deep connection to Oral Roberts after your Grant Holloway tweet here. You know the roster up and down. You were able to recall somebody from several years ago. But Arkansas, the men, 7th indoors and then podium cross country. I see this as the Razorbacks rolling.
Yeah, Razorbacks roll. Arkansas is better than even 7th that they did in indoors. They're a good team all around. Oral Roberts, Cinderella story comes to an end. 15th seed. You made it to Sweet 16. You got to
pretty good.
You got to play a track meet against Arkansas. That's the consolation prize. Arkansas moves on to the Elite Eight.
Midwest, last region here. Here's an interesting matchup. Loyola of Chicago versus Oregon State. Oregon State, no full program. Hopefully they'll get to bring that back one day. They've had some people run individually. Loyola of Chicago, look this up, Gordon, 4th in their conference in cross, and then 7th in their conference in indoors. I guess you got to give them the edge because they have a program, correct?
Yeah, I was just to say, like, Oregon State doesn't really have enough bodies, so Loyola Chicago just got to show up with them and their nun coach. Is it a nun? What's the person that everyone talks about?
Isn't it Sister Jean?
Sister Jean. What does that even mean? What does Sister Jean mean? Does that mean it's a nun? She doesn't dress like a nun, though.
I'm the wrong person asking about this. She is a chaplain for the Loyola Ramblers men's basketball team, according to Wikipedia, and a religious sister of the Sisters of Charity of the Blessed Virgin Mary. She had a good tweet. Did you see her tweet?
A lot of nouns. What was her tweet?
Did you see her tweet? So
she said Cheswick should have won the Bowerman. Was that her tweet? The ultimate sin in track and field.
I mean, I hope this is a real tweet. This could have been a fake.
Might be fake.
It could have been a fake tweet.
Sisters burner.
But someone, because they're playing Oregon State, so someone actually her Twitter account is very active, by the way. Oregon State posted a tweet of a GIF of one of their guys, and it says, "Sister Jean don't want the smoke," and then she quote tweeted it and wrote, "I want all the smoke." It's amazing. I'm happy they're moving on. They go to the Elite Eight, and they will face the winner of Syracuse and Houston. 2 programs with different strengths, Gordon, to say the least.
Yeah, and I really do think Houston is better when it comes to track because, Houston has no distance stuff, and Syracuse would rack up a lot of points in the distance, but Houston, they will basically sweep the 100, the 200, the 400, the 400 hurdle. Like they'll just go all out, and the horizontal jumps. They have a good pole vaulter, so and a good thrower. Houston will move on.
Houston moves on to the Elite Eight. Okay, let's go back to the West region here. So Elite Eight down to Final Four. Gonzaga v. Oregon.
Gotta go with Oregon. Gonzaga got an easy bye there by going up against Creighton in the Sweet 16. Oregon moves on to the Final Four.
FSU versus Bama. FSU versus Bama.
So now this one's hard. This is probably the toughest matchup. Who finished better at indoor? Who finished better indoor? Who had a better indoor finish?
Let's look that up. Bama, like I said, was 7th indoors. Let's see. Indoor championships. Florida State had a lot of guys.
Yeah.
A lot of people. A lot of guys who can win individually too. Really stocked in the field events.
Isaac Grimes and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, Trey Cunningham, et cetera, et cetera. Total points. Here we go. Team scores. Men. Oh, wow. Oh, wait, hold on. I was looking at the wrong side.
How long does it take you to find this team score?
They were 1 point apart, Gordon. 23-22. Florida State edged them by 1 point at indoors. That's interesting.
I'm going Florida State then. I'm going Florida State. I think they throw in also Casey Neville-Bard, who has outdoor eligibility in the 1500. Kind of steals some more points from Alabama's Ilya Kipsang. Going Florida State.
Okay, go to the South now. Baylor v. Arkansas. Baylor v. Arkansas.
Arkansas, 100%. Baylor was riding the coattails of Casey Lightfoot. That comes down when Arkansas.
One-man show.
One-man show.
And it's kind of like Davidson with Steph Curry. You can only go so far with one guy. Unless the guy's Carmelo Anthony, and then you win the entire tournament. Okay, Loyola of Chicago versus Houston. The matchup we were all waiting for.
I mean, Houston is going to have pretty much a smooth sailing ride to the Final Four, getting basically the easiest. I guess Oregon kind of had an easy Elite Eight matchup, but yeah, Houston, Final Four.
Okay, so our Final Four teams, Oregon, FSU, Arkansas, and Houston. I'm just going to keep the games going in order. So West versus East, South versus Midwest. So that means it's Oregon versus FSU. Oregon versus FSU.
All right. The question is, how many events can Adrian Wildershut run? Right? Can they convince Wildershut's brother to last chance get some eligibility, come back to the States and run for Florida State so they have a 1-2 punch? Okay, can Florida State convince Cole Hawker to go pro so he doesn't have any eligibility? It
sounds like you're leading Oregon.
Can James West get a false start but also get all of his other teammates to get a false start? If all that happens, Florida State probably still loses. Oregon moves on to the final.
Oregon moves on. Oregon moves on to the championship game. All right, here we go. Also, free James West, by the way. You brought up his name. Oregon will face the winner of Arkansas and Houston. Arkansas and Houston.
So Arkansas is going to rack up all the distance points.
Yes.
Houston, though, does have better short sprinters than Arkansas. Like, they're going to have Travis Collins. They have their Sean, the South African guy. They have Terrence Ware. Arkansas is going to win the 4x1. Houston's going to win the 4x1. They're going to do really well in the 1 and the 2. They have a good 400-meter hurdler in, what's his name? Quavell Jordan.
Okay.
But Arkansas, man, they got enough bodies. They're deep.
They got a lot of people in a lot of events.
They got a lot of people in a lot of events. I want to give it to Houston because there's a little bit of a personal connection to Carl Lewis, and you kind of want that underdog story, and they're not in the Power 5 conferences, but hey, clock don't lie. The measuring stick don't lie. I have to give it to Arkansas. Just got to do it. I don't want to, but I got to do it.
Double OT thriller. Arkansas moves on. Arkansas, Oregon for the championship of the hypothetical men's track Sweet 16 bracket. Oregon v
Okay.
Arkansas.
Here we go. Let's think about this, though.
Okay,
Let's put some parameters on this matchup. All right. So it's outdoor track. It's a dual meet.
Sure.
How many entries are you allowed per event? You can say 3.
3. You get 3.
So you get 3. Are you allowed to double, triple, quadruple? Like, how many times are you allowed to run multiple?
You can
guys?
run up to. You can run as much as you want. Let's just say that. If you want to quadruple
unlimited?
some people, Gordon, you can quadruple some people. Yeah.
Okay. Now you're gonna hate that I'm about to do this because you're gonna want this podcast to go quicker. But we're gonna actually score this out. Not like crazily, but we're just gonna do
Gordon,
who would win what
set it
event.
to 1.5 speed everybody.
Yeah, hold on. I'm just getting all of the events listed on my Excel doc really quick. Shot put, hammer throw, javelin throw.
He's getting his supercomputer. Don't forget multis. Dual meet multis is where it's at. Yeah.
Okay. So
here we
go.
Start
this. We'll start 100-meter advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Can you keep track of this? The score?
Sure.
It's gonna be 1 and 1. So advantage Oregon. So 1 point Oregon in the 100.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
I gotta open this doc up. Okay. 100.
So give 1 point to Oregon. 200. I'll give the advantage to Oregon as well. Right? Would you agree with that?
Equal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
400 advantage Arkansas.
Okay. 800.
400 hurdles advantage Arkansas.
Okay.
110 hurdles advantage Arkansas.
Okay.
800 advantage Oregon. So what are we at now?
It is now 3-3.
3-3. Okay. 1500 got to do advantage Oregon.
Okay.
Steeple. Ooh. It's who like decides to just like force their guys to do it because no one really has a true good steepler. So let's call steeple a wash. They tie.
Tie.
It's a tie.
Neck and neck. Photo finish. Okay.
5K advantage Oregon. 10K got to do advantage Arkansas because
really,
yeah, Mo and Kemboy, they're gonna sacrifice the 5 and just go all in on the 10 and get the points back in the 10.
Okay.
4x1 advantage. Ooh, I got 4x1 advantage Oregon. 4x4 advantage Arkansas.
Okay.
Okay, so what are we at? What's the score?
Oregon, currently, you have them winning the 100, 200, 800, 1500, 5K, and 4x1. So they have 6. And Arkansas has 4x4, 10K, 110 hurdles, 4 hurdles, and 400. So they have 5.
Okay, so it's 6 Oregon.
And there's
5
one
Arkansas.
tie. And there's one tie.
Yeah, well, ties to cancel out, so it doesn't matter. So 6-5 Oregon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's start with high jump.
Field events. Mm-hmm.
High jump, got to do high jump and pole vault. Definitely Arkansas.
Okay.
Long jump and triple jump, I would do advantage Oregon.
Okay.
Shot put, advantage Arkansas.
Okay.
Then the 3 hammer, javelin, distance throw, I would have to do advantage no one because I don't know. So we're going to scratch those events because we don't know. So what's the score now?
Okay. Well, you skipped high jump.
No,
you didn't. Sorry. No, you gave it to me. Yeah. Okay, let me just clarify. High jump, you have Arkansas.
Pole vault,
you have Arkansas. And shot put, you have Arkansas. And then long jump and triple jump, you have Oregon. So it's 8-8. And then because you scratched out. Yeah.
The hammer, javelin, and discus because I don't know. So we're 8-8.
Okay.
Now it's a multis, decathlon.
Okay.
It's going to be how did they do at NCAA indoors?
Let me pull that up right now for the heptathlon. Max Vollmer was 6 with 5,726. Daniel Spetcher was 9th for Arkansas, 5,630.
But Arkansas did have two other guys qualify.
Yeah, one guy got 14th and the other guy DNF'd.
And if it's to get 3 people, I think Arkansas wins it. Upset. Arkansas takes the championship. They have more bodies in the decathlon, and they win it. There you go. Arkansas.
I think
2021 March FloTrack Madness champions over Arkansas.
I think they're
over Oregon. Upset special.
They're calling Cooper Tier and saying, "Can you run the steeple?" I think that's what would happen if this was simulated out as champion. They everybody get in the steeple. We are winning the steeple. Wow, first ever time doing that. How do you think it went?
It was great. I think we need to do it every year. We need to make it a reality. We need Arkansas and Oregon to show up on a track meet, and they need to run their events that we tell them to run, and then we'll be able to truly see if these FloTrack projections are accurate.
Speaking of Arkansas and Oregon, we got an email here, Gordon, from Justin, who keeps his ear to the ground when it comes to Arkansas schedules. And he said, Arkansas just posted its outdoor schedule, and both the men and women are going to the Hayward Premiere in Eugene on April 2nd and 3rd. You may already know about it, but I haven't seen any articles about it, and it's not even on Oregon's website. But Googling around, it looks like BYU, Oklahoma State, Portland, New Mexico, Tulsa, and Utah are some of the other teams listed on their schedule.
I got some beef with the team known as Oregon. If you were...
Hold on. I know some other teams that are there. Hold on. Let me give you a list. I think I have some...
It's I don't care. There's a lot of teams going to this meet in Oregon. It is March
Colorado.
It is March 24th, 2021. We already have had outdoor track meets. Yet this sport is supposed to be popular. Imagine if the Duke basketball team didn't tell you who they were going to play in a basketball season until less than a week before it started. Imagine if we didn't know who the Philadelphia Eagles were going to play in their football schedule at the end of their preseason. You'll be like, wait, who are they playing? The fact that our sport doesn't feel the need to like promote like the schedule, it's just like the schedule should have been known months ago. They already know. Why are they waiting?
Well, not months ago. Not months ago, because of all the stuff happened last minute. You got a new stadium, and you also got the COVID situation. But you're right. Now it should be up there.
This event was already on Direct Athletics months ago. So this meet wasn't put together last minute. These coaches and these administrators know this event is happening, yet they're going to wait to the last minute to announce it. Like, people would be going insane if we didn't know which basketball players were playing who or teams were playing who less than weeks before the start of the season. It'd be like, what's going on? How do you expect people to follow the season if you're not going to announce it? And we just accept it because, it's a track meet. We can just announce it last minute. Yeah. And this is happening in the pro side. You see Bowerman less than 24 hours before track meet be like, hey, we're running a track meet. And then people complain. People think, why isn't it more popular? Well, maybe because we're finding out about track meets after they've already happened, right? And the fact that a school like Oregon doesn't bother to tell people where they're running until the very last moment, it's bullshit. I'm sorry, it is. I mean, I'm probably not going to post this now because I said the word shit at the end of it, but I don't care. These teams and these
we need
teams
to have the live people. So you're excited about Oregon versus Arkansas? Is that what I'm getting? You excited? Do you think that they're going to be fired up because you said that Arkansas is going to edge them by one? There's going to be a little bit more motivation there because of the March Madness hypothetical bracket. I think so.
I'm just saying, we track is like, why aren't we more popular than the big football, basketball, baseball, all this stuff? And like, this is just like, I know it's a small thing, but this is just like shows the stupidityness of our sport, that the most popular track program in the NCAA doesn't feel the need to tell people where they're running until the very last moment. It's just stupid. And I know, like, all right, who cares? We all know all that matters is NCAAs. But like, it's just like, you would never see this happen in any other sport. You would never see Duke basketball not tell us where they were playing. In fact, we already know where Alabama football is playing in 2028. We already know that. But we don't know that in track. And it's just, and then Bowerman does it with their little pop-up meets and this, they're like, and then like they pull out last minute, and then scratches happen. It's just like all this.
All right.
People say like, how do you make the sport more popular? You need structure. You need people to say they're going to run something and they do it. You don't have in football, you're getting 10 games in a row. In basketball, you're getting the 25 games in a row. You know that. In track, you have no idea what you're getting. You're getting like, oh yeah, only our B+ team is running here. Oh yeah, this was just a qualifying race. Oh, this was just a jog. Oh, I went all here. Oh yeah, we're going to try to break the American record in the middle of a forest on a closed Nike campus track. Oh, that's really good. It's stuff like that. Sorry. I went on a little rant, but the presentation
maybe you shouldn't have
these
slept
athletes
in.
and coaches
you
do towards
think that you're on less
sport,
sleep, not more sleep.
This is not good. Sorry. It's just crazy.
Okay, so you're excited for Friday because we're going to do the women's bracket. That'll be great. I'm excited. I'm glad you were able to air all the grievances there that we've heard before. I was hoping while you were talking, I looked at Oregon's schedule. I was hoping it was up there now so that I could tell you, and you just have to eat crow, but it's still not up there. They haven't done anything past indoors on the schedule. So it just says Fayetteville. That's the last one. NCAA Indoor Championships. In any event, we're going to talk about the first weekend of outdoor, the first big weekend of outdoor, which is coming up. But first, it's time for this week's installment of the Under Armour Performance Series, where Gordon and I talked about the mental side of running with Rachel Snyder and Paul Winsper of Under Armour. So we'll play that right now, and then when we come back, Gordon's going to make some predictions about what's going to happen on this first big weekend of track, Texas Relays, Raleigh Relays. Stick with us. And now it's time for the Under Armour Performance Series. Under Armour is more than an apparel company or shoe company. They're a human performance company trying to not only make the athletes better, but everyone a better runner. In this series, we've already talked to several athletes, coaches, and trainers on a variety of topics to help improve you as a runner, from preparation, nutrition, and training to competing and recovery. Very excited to have on today's edition distance runner Rachel Snyder and Paul Winsper, VP of Athlete Performance at Under Armour. Let's start first with you, Paul. Can you tell us a little bit more about the Under Armour Performance Academy?
Yeah, the Performance Academy is set up, as we say, as a brand, we want to really strive to work with people that just want more. They're striving to be better. And as a brand, we're doing it through, like you said, the footwear and the apparel, but now we're going to that next step. How do we support the journey from an athletic perspective with training and really giving people the tools? And one thing that I think people shy away from is training the mind. And if we think about the athlete, we can train their body, we can train their mind, and we can train their craft. And if you ask most people how they train for their craft, Rachel could tell you all of her drills and her reps and sets. She could tell you how she trains in the gym in terms of her body. But you ask a lot of athletes about how to train their mind, and it's almost like an abstract construct of like, well, I kind of do that, I think, and I think that's trained my mind. So Performance Academy was set up, in short, to give athletes tools to really understand how to train the mind. So from training, competition, and recovery. So leading up to competition, then during competition, like pre-game and game time, and then in that recovery area of how we train the mind post-game.
Rachel, how important is it as a professional runner, obviously, to not only work on your physical side, but working on that mental side?
Working on the mental side is, I would say, just as important, if not more important, than doing the physical work as a professional runner. I think it's natural for all of us to be eager to get out the door and to run and to train and to hit the gym. But it feels less natural to, say, take 10 minutes a day to sit down and meditate, or to do things that will actually enhance the mental performance aspect of the sport. And I think that's where the biggest gains can actually come from, is the belief and the mental training, and just showing up mentally prepared will be kind of what takes an athlete to the highest level that they can.
Absolutely.
Paul, how is Under Armour supporting the athletes and consumers with mindset, would you say?
Yeah, I think Rachel summed it up there. It really is an advantage. It's a competitive advantage. And when you see the athletes that really understand that and really understand how to do it, it gives them those gains. The way we've broken it down is into 7 very simple constructs. So we teach athletes about how to visualize success. Like, what does success look like for them? And if we can start to visualize it, you can almost like pull it towards yourself and anchor yourself to that ability to visualize what success looks like. The next part is teaching athletes to set really clear goals. We ask athletes if they've set goals, and it's, yeah, we've set goals, but have you really set goals? Do you understand how to set them and how to measure them and check progress towards them? So visualize the success, set the goals. The next one is building resilience. You know, I think Rachel as an athlete personifies that resilience. Running's tough. Running is a tough sport. And we can help athletes understand how to build resilience mentally. The other one is we're starting to get into that lead up to competition and just pre-competition of teaching the athletes to calm the mind. And again, reps and sets and exercises. Then we move into something that to me is one of those real powerful tools, is teaching athletes to build optimism. And it sounds pretty abstract, but we can actually teach athletes to start thinking more optimistically, how to build optimism into their daily routines. And then we talk about activating their mindset. So think about that. We can teach them and we can teach them and we can teach them, but now we have to actually show them how to activate that new mindset. And then the last one is how to reflect on performance. So there's a whole kind of time phase staging to the visualizing of success, the clear goal setting, achieving that resilience, calming the mind, building optimism, activating that mindset, and then reflecting on their performance.
And Rachel, as an athlete, how do you put those things into practice? I imagine throughout your career, you found different things that work, but how do you implement some of those things that we just heard about?
Everything Paul just mentioned is so massive in the mental game. I mean, all 7 of those practices are exactly that. They're practices. Like, those are things that need to be actively implemented, if not on a daily basis, on a routine basis. And I would say, like, sometimes I am more focused on one than the other. Like, sometimes I'm more thinking about visualization and how that's going to help this race coming up. Other times it's more about when the race is done, how do I reflect on that? But then at the core of it is always staying really in touch with how I personally define success. That's probably, in my mind, one of the biggest ones, is always staying in touch with my personal definition of success, both in the short term and in the long term. And then goal setting and really just taking all 7 of those and making sure that, you know, I'm strengthening my mind and I'm using the tools of these practices to help my mindset prepare me not to only be the best athlete on race day, but to do what I can every day and implement that into my routine to be the best athlete and the best person I can be on a regular basis.
Paul, when it comes to training the mind, what are some of the resources available to support that training process?
Yeah, the way we've tried to build this is we listen to athletes like Rachel, you know, the experienced athletes that have a practice and we know it works. We also looked at speaking to people that work with athletes in the field. So we brought in Dr. Mike Gervais, who is a leading high performance sports psychologist. So it was this blend of working with the athletes, listening to their practice, and then working with the applied psychologists in sport. And then we build out the programs. So in practice, any single focused performer, anybody that wants to get better and actually understand how to train the mind, can go to our Performance Academy website and download any of those 7 constructs and then get into the actual practice. How do we do it? What are the reps? What are the sets? How long? How often? So that's a resource that we've built for all focused performers all over the world.
Rachel, we all know it's an Olympic year. We've seen you in action a couple times this year already. You had that fast 10,000 as well. What's your race schedule look like in the near future before the trials?
Ooh, yeah, the trials are a couple months away, as you guys know. So really dialing it in right now, really focusing on doing what I can on a daily basis to show up at the trials the best I possibly can be. I'm looking forward to racing hopefully a handful of times before the trials. Not exactly sure my race schedule yet, but looking forward to getting in some 1500s and a 5K before heading to Eugene for the trials.
Great. We wish you the best of luck. Thank you so much for joining us, Rachel Snyder and Paul Winsper, on today's edition of the Under Armour Performance Series. We appreciate you guys' time.
Thanks, Rachel. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
And we're back. Gordon, do you want to weigh in at all on the scheduling with NCAA teams? Just one more time.
No, I'm good.
I missed it.
I got it all out. It's just,
Oh, man. Yeah, that was a lot.
Our sport needs structure. That's all I'm saying. Our sport needs structure, and it's going to always be chaotic all over the place until we start giving it structure. And creating a track league isn't the answer either. It's not about these fake,
I didn't mean to
give
get you on
us
another
a logo and a draft.
Stop. All right. I was just mentioning it
podcast
next as a joke.
When you're gone.
Save for next Wednesday's pod or something like that. Just maybe you can do a solo one and just yell into the microphone for an hour. I think that would be great.
All right.
What should we be watching for this weekend? Who's racing?
On Texas Relays, we have some fast sprint stars, right? You got Tiana Daniels, Kenny Harrison, Jenna Prandini, Gabby Thomas, Ashley Spencer, Corey Carter, Shamir Little. You have a Thing Moo in the 1500. That's going to be exciting. A Thing Moo. Aaliyah Miller in that same 1500. So 2 800-meter stars duking it out. On the men's side, you got Ronnie Baker, Cam Burrell, Terrence Laird, Eli Hall running the sprints. You have Devin Dixon in the 4, Emmanuel Corrier in the 400, Kamari Montgomery in the 400. You have Michael Cerrone, an 800-meter guy, running the mile. Isai Rodriguez in the 10K. Good pole vault action. So Texas Relays going to be some good season debuts for some notable sprint people. However, on the East Coast, the Rally Relays, we're going to have a lot of deep distance NCAA action.
Mm-hmm.
Here are just some names. Well, we'll just go event by. I sent you the start list. Did you see that in the chat?
In the chat.
Like in our little video stream chat thing.
Oh wow, you're using that now. Okay.
Yeah. Using that. So you can just see what I'm seeing.
Oh, there it is.
Anyway,
yeah, there it is.
So in the women's 1500, we're gonna have Caitlin Toohey, which will be exciting. Mm-hmm. Also, other notables like Kaylee Richards, who was a All-American in the mile from UMass Lowell. We'll have Katie Rainsberger from Washington. So good 1500. The 5K also going to be good. You're going to have people like Abby Wheeler of Providence, Jessica Drop of Georgia. You're going to have other NC State athletes. I think Caitlin Toohey is also in that one. You have Lauren White of Boston College. She's good. Anyway, good distance stuff on the women's side. The 10K, we're going to have Mercy Chilangat, NCAA champ, right there running the 10K.
Mercy!
A few others. Kelsey Camille in the 10K from NC State. Hannah Steelman in the 10K. And a bunch of others. Basically, on the women's side, you can see a bunch of athletes trying to get their regional qualifier, whether it's in the 15, the 5K, or the 10K. What do you think Mercy's going to run the 10K in?
Fast to very fast. This reminds me of the BU meet after cross, where everybody goes with the cross country fitness and tries to get a time. Now there's usually a little more time off after that than there might be here, but all these people are still running off cross country fitness. And if they get the time that they want, you might see them take it easy for a little bit and then come back. With the schedule being so strange this year, you can't blame them for taking any opportunity. But some of these people, I mean, Mercy, that was 2 weeks ago that she won the title. But yeah, she's going fast. She's going fast.
Yeah. And on the men's side, you have like Vincent Kiprop of Alabama in the 10K. Robert Brandt, who ran a fast 10K already at a pro meet, has to do it again for NCAA purposes. Is running 10K. But I think the number one performance I'm most interested in is going to be the men's 5K. It's going to be the men's 5K. Athanas Kyoko of Campbell. No, I'm kidding. Not him. Yair Nuguse. Yair Nuguse, Notre Dame, is in the 5K. And it's going to be a pretty good 5K. You have the D2 star, Christian Noble from Lee. You have Andrew Jordan of Washington in there. Other Notre Dame guys. Like I said, the Campbell kid, Athanas Kyoko. I'm excited to see what exactly is Yared's goal for this race and why is he doing it? Because he's not running the 5K at NCAAs. So there's got to be a bigger reason for this race. Is it basically...
Maybe he wants to join that 5K party. He heard you talk about how great the 5K was, and maybe he's like, I want in. I'm in.
I mean, if Yared's in that 5K, oh man, that changes things. I think it's, if you think about it, they're kind of working their way back down, right? They work their way up to the 10K. You do the 8Ks and then a 10K. Now they got to work their way back down to the 1500. So you start with the 5K, then do a 3K, and then get down to the 15. So that's probably the reason. I just made that up as a reason.
Quarter by July.
It makes sense in my mind.
Nah,
it makes sense in my head. It's a pyramid. Yeah.
Drop up, drop down. He's going to do a steeple in a couple weeks, then a 1500, then an 800, then go.
There you go.
He's the one I'm interested in.
Then a 1600, and then a 1500.
He's the one I was interested in too, but I wonder how hard they're going to go, what sort of rabbits they have in place. Because if this was set up like some of those 5,000s that were in the end of last year that the collegians hopped in, when Grijalva ran 13 teens in the track meet, then I think Yared could hop along for the ride and go really fast. But I don't know with the weather, with the pacing, if it's just going to be, hey, get a good solid effort in there. Obviously, don't burn out. But they're all going to be in really good shape. And the pressure is going to be pretty low for most of these athletes because it's early season. Just in the same way that the BU meet, it seems everybody got a PR. I think you could see something similar with this meet if the weather cooperates. Okay, give me some predictions or guesses or something for this week's edition of Gordon's Guesses. You got a lot of names there. Just tell me what someone's going to do with confidence.
Ooh. I'm going to go with confidence. Though I'm going to go upset. My upset is I think Christian Noble wins that 5K. Because I think maybe Nuguse doesn't try to go all out and runs like a 13:45, just get his feet wet. But I think Christian Noble wins the 5K in 13:31.
What about Texas Relays?
Texas Relays,
A Thing Mo
is going to not win. She...
You keep picking against her on the show. I don't understand what's going on here with this.
Well, I don't think she's built to be running the 1500. I don't know. I think she's
run them before. She'll be fine.
She'll be fine. I don't know. See, here's the thing. These guesses, it's a lot harder to guess season opener type races. You don't know what the purpose is of any of these races, how they are health-wise, fitness-wise, and especially in the NCAA
you don't need to
scene,
pick times, though. You don't need to pick times. But, who's going to be the story coming? Just who's going to be the story coming out? I'll give you one. Kevin's guesses is not as cool as Gordon's guesses, so this isn't the segment. But if I was in your shoes, I would say Devin Dixon is going to make a splash this weekend because we have not been talking about him for so long. He did not have indoors. He's going to come out. He's going to drop a serious time in the quarter, and we're going to remember, hey, this guy, NCAA favorite, and also dark horse to make the Olympic team. That's a pick that I'm looking for. Something like that.
Okay, well, he's not going to win that race. Emmanuel Courier is going to win that race.
I didn't say. Jeez, you have to pick Emmanuel Courier. How long are you going to pick Emmanuel Courier? Are we going to do this podcast in 2030?
You know.
I don't want to talk about Emmanuel Courier. I don't want to talk about schedules on websites. I don't want to talk about Emmanuel Courier. He made the final in the 400 and didn't make the final in the 800. You said he's going to make the final in both. We're not going to have litigate this argument.
All I said is I said he would make the final 400, and I know when you were sitting in that Doha hotel room the night before the 400, you're like, God damn it, Gordon might be right. Career might actually pull something crazy off in the 4. You were like, shit. Once he made it through the semis, you're like, uh-oh.
No.
Gordon might be on this career thing. And you were thankful that he finished like 6th. You're like, thank God Gordon doesn't have this over me.
Nah, not at all. That's erroneous. Okay, but even if you're going to say that Cruz is going to beat him, that can still be true about Dixon. He can still run fast enough to where people remember how good he is, and it puts him on a map. Give me something like that if you don't want to pick a time or you don't want to pick a finishing order.
I think Terrence Laird in the 200 is going to be an eye-opener at the Texas Relays. LSU kid got second to Matthew Bowling. Terrence is good talent. I think Terrence's 200, whatever he runs, is going to be good. And I do think the best team at Texas Relays in the 4x1 and the 4 whatever they run is also going to be what people talk about, because people get excited for some sprint action, especially sprint relays. You don't really get that as much in the indoor scene. I think the 4x1 conversation will kick off really strong come Monday next week.
Mm-hmm. And do you have a team or teams in particular?
I think LSU and Houston are going to be the 2 teams. I mean, we remember the LSU-Houston match 2 years ago. That was fun.
Back at it again.
I'm not sure if Houston is going to be as good as they were in 2019, but it's going to be exciting. I don't really know yet, because you don't know where people are. People coming back from redshirting indoors, all this stuff. So I just think the 4x1 is going to be the conversation on Monday. And I think Christian Noble is going to upset everyone and be the conversation from the rally relays. That's what I think.
There we go. Okay. There's 2 picks. Just got them out of you. You got to be – look, if you're going to carry this segment, which I'm relying on you to do, you just got to have picks. You just got to go.
Okay.
You just got to be reactive. You don't even think. You need to just be – you need to be like Korkmaz. You just get the ball and you store it up. You store it. You don't even look at the rim. You just get it up and you're a shooter. That's what you need to do. What's Kenny Harrison running? Is she running the hurdles?
200. So no.
Okay. I was wondering those pros. This is going to be – I'm predicting your reaction on Monday. How did all these college kids run faster than the pros? That's what we're going to get a lot of too on this show. But we have another show before that on Friday. All right. FloTrackPodcast@gmail.com is the email address. Follow the show on Twitter @FloTrack Podcast. Subscribe to the YouTube page, the FloTrack Podcast YouTube page, where all the clips are up. Gordon voicing his opinion on a variety of topics, may or may not be trying to settle old scores from 2019 or Bowerman from a bunch of years ago. Who knows? There's the music.
Yeah.
I love the music. Show's over. We'll talk to you on Friday. Women's bracket coming Friday. Gordon is going to investigate every single schedule page in the NCAA. Update your stuff, SIDs. He's coming for you. Talk to you then.